from Lennox, Frontenac, Lennox and Addington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Premier. Premier, I'd like to share with you a few headlines that I thought you might enjoy. The Globe and Mail, September 22nd. Premier win to reveal cabinet plans in bid to boost transparency. CBC News, September 25th. Ontario Premier promises more transparency. Releases mandate letter for ministers. Premier, those headlines were less than a month ago, but so much has changed. Here's a few newer headlines. Toronto Star, October 14th. Liberal MPPs block release of MaRS financial details. CBC News, October 15th. Liberals won't release details of MaRS office tower deal. Premier, your member from Trinity Spadina told the committee quite clearly that he believes in openness and transparency at the right time. So, Premier, I ask you, do you agree with Mr. Dong's statement?
Thank you.
And if so,
thank you. I remind this member and all members, when I stand, you sit. Premier.
Development, Employment and Infrastructure.
Mr. Economic Development.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really proud to be part of a government
member from Leeds Grenville is warned.
With the Premier, Mr. Speaker, who is absolutely committed to ensuring that as we do business in this province, we do it in a very straightforward, transparent way, Mr. Speaker, and that's very, very important to each and every one of our ministers. But, Mr. Speaker, if the member's asking this government to put out documents that our deputy minister and our legal folks in the ministry are telling us is commercially sensitive, does he really think it would be responsible for us to do that? Because, Mr. Speaker, that frankly would be abdicating my responsibility as a minister if I were to supersede that advice and release those documents. What I will do, Mr. Speaker, is what we've committed to do a number of times in the last couple of weeks, and that's to release all documents, Mr. Speaker, that exist, that are not commercially sensitive. And, Mr. Speaker, with the documents that may be commercially sensitive, we'll ask our ministry, and I have asked our ministry, to release what they can of those documents. I think that's pretty fair.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Back to the Premier. Premier, your minister was less than forthright. Our requests in committee were very simple and very straightforward. We asked for the original loan agreement between the government and MaRS, as well as the original business plan MaRS used to justify the loan. Our final request was for the contract between ARE and MaRS, which the government has bailed out for $65 million. We offered that the committee would to go in camera to protect any commercially sensitive information. Premier, we offered to go in camera to protect that information. Premier, members of your government and committee voted against each and every motion. Each vote was a clear vote against openness and transparency. Premier, when will you stay true to your words, and will you table these documents to the Estimates Committee?
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the member's inaccurate, misinformed, over-the-top, silly rhetoric aside, yes, Mr. Speaker, we will table documents to the Estimates Committee. What we will have to do, Mr. Speaker, is make sure those documents and the information we provide is not commercially sensitive, Mr. Speaker. That's our responsibility. That's my responsibility as a minister. It's our responsibility as a government to ensure that we're serving the public interest. I know, Mr. Speaker, the member understands that. I know as an opposition member what he's trying to do here. But, Mr. Speaker, I will not abdicate my responsibility as a minister to serve the public interest. I simply will not do that. I don't think that's an appropriate thing to do. I don't even think that's an appropriate request. But we will provide whatever information the committee's requested, provided it's not commercially sensitive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Your question.